I'm here at the Walter Reed, walking on out of day 3 of New York Film Festival. Just gonna rattle off some thoughts on day 3 of what I just saw, and I'm feeling really nice right now. It's a really lovely ending to the day, and I'm gonna give you the little visual tour as I go. So yeah, that's Walter Reed, where we watch things, and then walking into Lincoln Center this way. It's very nice at night. Love the Lincoln Center grounds and fountain, but I'll talk about the movies. So we had Magellan, Below the Clouds documentary, Italian, Rose of Nevada from director of Ennis Men, and we ended with Romería from Carla Simón. Okay, so Magellan, it was tough to sit through and it'll probably be dark as I go, just you're gonna have to deal with it. It was tough because it's long and it's very distant in its kind of observation of Magellan, the explorer, Portuguese explorer. It's essentially, almost 3 hours of Magellan just going around with his crew to different places and colonizing them with Christian crap. And it's thus not very fun or interesting to watch because there's not much of an angle there. It's just kind of showing it, and it's showing it in a very removed, distant way. Diaz is the director, but it is gorgeous. It is the full frame ratio. I always joke to people that if you go in the full aspect ratio, the 1:3, you already get 3 stars from me. It's already gonna be in my top 20 of the year probably. I love how that ratio looks. I love how filmmakers always use it to its strengths, and it was beautifully shot. In fact, for those of you who dabble around on Instagram or don't do cinematography necessarily, but some basic terms, if you take that black level and go lighter with it so that all the blacks become very faded, get that nice kind of film Instagram look. This whole movie is shot with the black levels really boosted into a lighter area, and you lose a little color with that, but in general it looks beautiful. I love how that looks. This is the plaza outside the New York Public Library for Performing Arts. It's all part of Lincoln Center here, and this is a great place to chill. And then we have the main Lincoln Center Plaza here, where I talked to you this morning as I soft launched Nashville Screen. It looked beautiful is the thing. And it's my kind of movie, the way it looks. I love it. I love how that looks. I pretty much was on board, although it's not, you're kind of waiting for a comeuppance or some kind of climax, or because there's no piercing angle into Magellan as a figure or as his psyche or anything like that. It's just going through the motions of what happened, but in a beautiful way. So very mixed, right? It did have the payoff in the end. It did have a satisfying conclusion to me. But most people had a tough time with it. Very long film to start the day with. A lot of people were dozing off or losing interest. Ultimately, just because of the formal qualities of it, I give it a good review. I liked it, but yeah. The day improved. Below the Clouds was the Italian documentary set in Naples, around Pompeii and Vesuvius. I actually thought it was going to be more like I described it, as a volcano documentary, or just a documentary about the people and the kind of the threat of the volcanoes going off. But it doesn't even give any context about the Vesuvius situation, which is that it's going to erupt again. I was telling Jason this on the subway last night. So there's this history of the Pompeii, disaster, and then there's this, if you know about Vesuvius, it's going to go off again, but it doesn't really address that. It's black and white, so beautiful cinematography, and it's got that observational kind of portrait of a whole town, different people, the emergency responders answering phones. That's kind of humorous. It's so piecemeal and all over the place that I don't really, for some reason, it didn't all come together for me. And I love documentaries like that. I love just like beautiful, abstract, just kind of like portraiture documentaries of places or people, and it didn't, I don't know, for some reason it didn't all connect. I wanted more, like, if it had more like beautiful nature shots of Vesuvius, or more of the people answering the phone and dealing with various disasters around the town. It just didn't seem focused, and so I don't come away with much of a strong message. And it was also slow. I mean, those two in a row were very tough for everyone. Like, people were dozing off, people were walking out. It was tough. Then the third film of the day, I did all four, as I said, but this one really blew me away for like the discovery of the festival so far. It's my favorite, along with the Petzold that opened the fest, and it was Rose of Nevada. So I have not seen Ennis Men, but the Mark, oh God, what, I don't have all the names right in front of me, so I apologize. And it stars the actor that looks like Harris Dickinson, but is not. I always get them confused. But it starts right out again in the full frame aspect ratio. So 2 out of the 4 movies were in my favorite aspect ratio. And I love how that looked, especially because it was shot on 16. So the colors are really rich, and it has the 16 millimeter grain. It's like discovering like a first film from a director in the 90s from England or Scotland or something. It reminded me of like first seeing Lynn Ramsey or something like that. And it's just, I don't want to say too much, but it's 2 men and that were lost at sea, on a boat, and the boat comes back to the town. That's how the film starts, and there's characters around it, family members around this situation, and essentially it crosses over at a certain point into full-on fantastic mode. And the fantastique, as I call it, and as others have called it, is my favorite genre, where unexplainable things happen. There's a breach of normal space and time, and it becomes a tale, a dream-like tale, and it is purely dream logic at a certain point. The shots alone are enough to sustain you because they're so rich with texture and color. Each shot, I mean, it moves at a fast pace, almost like the Park Chan-wook, where one shot to the next is like, ooh. And he leaves in little light leaks from the 16 millimeter reels being spliced together. So you see some light leaks, you see a little bit of the formalism of that. But I mean, every shot is really interesting. You get into its spell. So you really get on the wavelength. I really locked into this one. And you know, what it does with the whole story it's telling, I thought was really strong. Pure dream logic. I was always kind of one step behind it, like trying to piece together what's happening, because it is a puzzle. It's a puzzle about grief and memory and family. And I'll just segue right into the last one, ROMERÍA, to say that the programmers kind of, it seems like they know what they're doing with the scheduling of these, because there's already thematic connections you're seeing across all the films. I mean, the way ROMERÍA and Rose of Nevada are both about like people on sea vessels and like something from the past that happened that's traumatic, and someone trying to revisit that time and space psychically. And then the first film, The Petzold, that opened, you know, also being about someone who steps in to the memory of someone who has gone. Just a lot of connections and a lot of gears turning in the minds of we viewers as we're watching these. Just, you go to a festival and you always hear about, there's, you know, all these connections you make between the themes and whatnot, and even images and specific things. And there's already been a lot of that. So personal histories, you know, like not just Magellan histories where it's just kind of dry, like here's this guy that did this and it sucked, and you know, the world's already terrible, we don't really want to watch that. But these personal histories where you're going into the character's memory of their past or their parents, learning about their parents. In the case of Romería, it's a teenage girl, a coming of age. The actress who played it is so captivating. She's in every scene, every shot. She also kind of plays her mother in her memories that unfold toward the end, when things kind of open up as she's got her mother's diary. She's trying to figure out who her parents were, because she grew up apparently with adopted parents. We're kind of thrown in medias res to a trip she's on, where she's trying to discover more about her parents and learn more. And it was just really lovely. It was very lovely. I don't know if it'll be like one of my very favorites of the year. I don't know. I'm still kind of chewing on it. It's the kind of film that just kind of makes you reflect. And I mean, I love a good coming of age. So I thought she was great. Thought the film was very lovely, very strong. Don't really want to corrupt it with more thought right now. I'm just kind of feeling it. Thought it was really good. But Rosa Nevada was the highlight for me today, just because I loved seeing that director's style. I had not seen Ennis Men, like I said, so I didn't know anything about this director or how his films were. Apparently the others are also about sea lore or sea tales, and kind of have a genre element. This one doesn't really have a genre element, but it does breach the rules of space and time, like I was saying, into the fantastic. So that's day 3. It's good running into folks. Looks like Lincoln Center's got an event here. It's very nice. I'm gonna take my walk back. And thanks so much for checking out National Screen. I've got 10 subs. Who knows what we'll do with this? Just be open to the idea of a Discord. If you don't know what a Discord is, I didn't either until I started another YouTube channel I had in another life that most of you don't know about recently. But it's a thing, and it's a community, like kind of like if you use Slack, we can talk about stuff there instead of doing it on Facebook. So what if we had a National Screen Discord? Would you be up for it? If so, leave a comment. All 10 subscribers, I appreciate y'all. Let me know what you're seeing in Nashville this weekend or wherever you are. So we have the weekend off, and just gonna put a little teaser that the main movie everyone's talking about is not a New York Film Festival selection, and I'll talk about the omissions, but it's one battle after another. PTA has seemingly only got raves on this, and it's wild to say, but it's apparently the film of the year. So everyone's trying to figure out how to see it and when. It opens next weekend, so I've got a ticket to the 70mm IMAX right up there at Lowe's Lincoln Plaza, or AMC, what's it now? AMC used to be Lowe's, back in my college days here. But Belcourt is showing it, so get your tickets to the PTA at the Belcourt. It's going to be one you're going to want to have seen and talking to everyone about, because it might be the one. Anyway, there's a lot more good stuff to come at New York Film Festival. Sentimental Value, Jay Kelly, you know, some of these like Oscar hopefuls. Panahi, it was just an accident. After the Hunt, Luca Guadagnino. Some of these got tepid reviews so far, but I'm going to be my own judge on that and see how it goes here. And Resurrection from Be Gone. That's probably the one I'm most excited about, along with The Sound of Falling. So these are some I'm excited about, but I'm going to try to see as much as I can. I'll keep reporting to you guys as I can. Hopefully bring Jason in on one of these as well. So you all have a good weekend at the movies, and see you soon.